It's Fernando weekend at Dodger Stadium. He will have his number retired on Friday. Saturday, there's a bobblehead. Sunday, a replica ring will be given out. But Fernando Valenzuela now has his jersey on the wall at Dodger Stadium. A screwball made him famous.
Yes.
You consider him a good friend.
Well, this is a glorious day. Glorious day for baseball, for the Dodgers, for the community, the Latin community, and Mexican in particular, and a fantastic day for Fernando. You know, I have been close to him, near him, and with him for many, many years, and it really pleases me so much that the Dodgers finally, it was overdue, finally they're going to honor him and to retire his number. It's something very special.
You met him, he was a teenager. Now, in 2023, he gets this moment for him. But it's not about him, it's about the community also. Is it the impact that he had for all the Latinos?
No baseball player had the impact that Fernando had in 1981. To me, Fernandomania started in 1980, in that series against the Astros. When he came in from the bullpen, he saved one game, he won another game, and he didn't have nothing to do with the other game. Finally, it was an extra game, and the Dodgers lost against Nitro and the Astros. But what Fernando has done for the community in particular is amazing. It's amazing for a kid that came to this country without speaking English, a little bit overweight, a little bit chubby, Indian features, a little bit long hair, and then, you know, the screwball. And he wrote one of the incredible pages of the Dodgers and baseball.
You were the broadcaster for the team, but also when Fernando would pitch, you were translating for him. We've seen all the videos of you with him. But for people who don't understand, I was too young to understand it, but Fernando Mania, he was a rock star all over the country. What was that like with him?
Well, he had such a charisma, it was unbelievable. He was very much reserved. He was a little bit introvert. I think he was afraid to speak because he couldn't speak English well, and he was afraid that they would misinterpret his expressions. But he was a very unique player. He never refused to answer a question. The only advice that I gave him was, Fernando, you don't have to ask every question that they ask you. If for any reason you don't like the question, just say diplomatically, I'm sorry, I don't care answer that. Next question, please. And he answered practically all questions. And at the beginning, everything was here, locally in Los Angeles, but then his name became very well known in New York, in St. Louis, in Chicago, in Atlanta, in every major league city. And what he did for baseball was unbelievable, really.
It's Fernando Mania weekend. It's about time, Jaime.
It is about time. He should have retired his number several years ago. I don't know why they keep holding that. Finally, Stan Casting said, well, everywhere I go, they ask me why. So finally they decided. I asked one time to some of them, why? They said, well, because if we do with Fernando, we'll have to do with Garvey and some other players. Said, they were great players, but Fernando is a special chapter. You can't compare Fernando with anybody else in that era. So finally, the Dodgers are doing that. I am so pleased, so happy to see that his name will be here at Dodger Stadium in the Ring of Honor, along with me there. So it's fantastic.
All right. You grew up with Fernando. You guys came together. Now to see this weekend, how that make you feel?
Oh, my heart vibrates, man, because I met Fernando when I was 15 years old in spring training. And to make a lot of stories that we have together. When I used to take ground balls as a youngster at Dodger Stadium when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, up to my draft day, I would take ground balls at shortstop, second base, and I threw the ball to Fernando at first base. Because Fernando, as a great athlete he is, he's like, I'll go to first base. He had his first baseman's glove. And I spent a lot of time with Fernando, even when I was like a ball boy, bat boy, in the dugout. We were allowed to stay in the dugout. Tommy Lasorda and company just allowed us to be there. And sure, so many stories. I learned so much from him about pitching. Remember the days like the Montreal Expos, Andre Dawson and Ellis Valentine and Tim Raines. I would ask Fernando, so how do you pitch to these guys? What do you do here? And, Tim Raines can run. He knows the game so well. What he did here, obviously, it speaks loudly about changing history, the Latinos feeling included. We have never seen anything like him, and we'll never see something like that in any city because it had never happened before. The Latinos felt a little outed, I would say, from the Dodgers and everything that happened with, in the late 50s. But even though the Dodgers had Latino names, Fernando brought everybody together and said, you're one of us, you're shy, you got the big face, you got the ability, and always tranquilo, man, always tranquilo.
You just said it. He brought the fan base out. So you saw it beforehand because your dad was part of the team and you saw that growing up. But you got to see Fernando Mania. When you're a little kid, what was that like?
I mean, I saw the shy kid that came from Metroquila become a star. The shy kid that I met in spring training that my dad used to take to, like, Fernando, you're always quiet by yourself. Let's go to Kmart. Let's go shopping. I got to go to, the drugstore. Like, come with me. I got to go to the Vero Mall back then, Vero Beach Mall. Come with me. Even when my mom would arrive from the Dominican to come in spring training, my dad would drive with him to Miami just to get him out of the basin, knowing that he's very respectful all the time, soft-spoken. But, man, the guy had some guts, man. And the first time I saw him pitch, I'm like, that's the same, shy guy that's Fernando Mania. Oh, my God, that's crazy how good he's becoming. He's always had such a great sense of humor, great sense of pitching, about family, and being dedicated to his craft, man. And Fernando could take a baseball right now and spin it and do all kinds of things to it that you just wouldn't believe. But to me, to see this happen today is like a culmination of so many things that I'm like, man, we're just getting old. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's Fernando Valenzuela Day in Los Angeles. Number 34 is every city, every stadium, everywhere you go. He hasn't played in more than 20-something years, and they still honor him. Fernando Weekend, how special is that for LA?
Truly special because, remember, Fernando's not doing this on his speech or words. Fernando's doing this on what he did on the field and how everybody connected with him. People that come from humble beginnings, obviously, as Latinos do and we do, understand the fact that it takes a lot to break barriers, to get through a lot of the concerns and people that don't believe in you and deserters like, he doesn't have it. Man, this guy won so many games just on guts. But to have a day like today, Los Angeles, the Dodger franchise, it means the world to all of us because I know that having broadcasted games internationally, I can go to Japan and people ask me about Fernando. And people all over Asia and the Middle East. I traveled there. I got like Dodgers, gold Dodgers and era. I'm like, what the heck? And people always knew Fernando Valenzuela. But, he's a good friend. He's a great broadcaster as we work together and can analyze the game so well. But, man, for Los Angeles, for the barrio, for the people, La Raza, this is very special.
And I was thinking about Fernando and everything he means to all of us. I remember going down to Etchewakia, and where he was born and raised. And all those stories that we heard about him and the difficult times he had growing up and the poverty that he lived in, they just started to scratch the surface of what Etchewakia is like. And I was even more in awe when I left there because of what he went through. It reminds me a lot of some of us have gone through. He's one of a kind. The likes of a Fernando Valenzuela, I don't think they're going to come our way again, or anytime soon, that's for sure.
You can have an impact on the field, but to have an impact with a community, to a country, and to have a mania. Jim, you saw this all over the country. It was Fernando Mania. What was it like just seeing that evolve?
I love watching young people respond to situations. Sometimes adults respond because they think it's the politically correct thing to do or they want to endear themselves to someone. Young people do it because of the pure joy of the event. And the young people that I saw then were laughing and joking and clapping and yelling Fernando and trying to look like him when he's throwing a pitch and trying to, look like he's looking up in the sky before he throws it, all those kinds of things. His innocence was something that really endeared himself to all of us. But don't get it twisted now. He's known English for a long, long time. Fernando's not fooling me. I know. I know he does, yeah.
To this day, you see the number 34 at Dodger Stadium. That's a great impact. But what he did for the Latino community, Jim, you saw it.
Young people, because that's my passion, doing stuff for young people. And the young people would talk, Fernando, Fernando, Fernando. You see them trying to pitch like him. I want to be like you. I love you. We love you. And that makes him feel a lot better about what he's doing. And it gives them a goal, something to reach for. And they're still reaching.
You grew up in LA. Now you get to work with Fernando. What's that like?
It was surreal when I first started. I mean, you listening, to Vin growing up and listening to Jaime, both in the household we were bilingual, so we listened to both. And then obviously watching Fernando play, and then all of a sudden working here, with him, with Jaime and Vin at the time, it was all surreal for me, and it's been a dream come true for me.
I think you and I are the same way, where when he says our name, you still get a little nervous, like, how does he know my name?
Oh, absolutely. I went through that with him and Vin the first time they both said my name, and someone pulled me aside. He's like, you realize now you can't mess up because they know who you are.
When he walks in here, I've said this a lot on the radio, that he is very, very shy, very, very humble. He doesn't like the attention, but this weekend, it's Fernando weekend. Has he been talking about it?
No. Yesterday was one of those days that we first started seeing him a little nervous. And we asked him, like, what is it? You probably are comfortable with, 50,000 fans, cheering for you. He's like, yeah, but usually when you're on the mound, you have a team behind you. Now I'm going to be up there by myself. And he sounded nervous yesterday. So, but, he's happy for everybody, his family, the fans, and everyone that's been wanting this for so long.
I know you're a team employee, so I'm not going to say this, but it's about time, right? And baseball deserves this.
Yes, absolutely. We all deserve it. Our fan base, his family, he deserves it. And it's great that he can see it, when he's here around. Like a lot of people say, give the flowers when they're due.
He also doesn't like the attention, yet he's going to be shy about it. So you get to know him because you work with him every single day. He has a sneaky personality. He's a jokester.
Yes, he's very. Sometimes you don't know if he's being serious or not because he has a really dry sense of humor. But it's great. He keeps you on your toes. So it's definitely a fun environment here.
When you sit behind him on the broadcast, and I know every single time you look out, there's always a number 34 at Dodger Stadium. How cool is that to see still in 2023?
Everywhere we go, on the road, here at home. Our fan base travels great, and obviously, he gets followed everywhere we go. So his fans are everywhere.
You saw Fernando in Palm Springs doing what?
1991, when he was coming back from his shoulder injury, he was rehabbing, trying to come back with the Angels. Did a rehab game at the old Cal League stadium there, and people flocked. I think the place held like 6,000, maybe 5,000. And the estimate by the police was 12,000 people squeezed in there. They had to rope off the outfield, the warning track, so people could stand on the warning track and watch. They were climbing the fences outside the gates to get in, so there was never any official ticket count. His appeal to the Mexican community out in the desert where they could, had never had a chance to see him, amazing. It's one of the nuttiest nights of my career. We ended up, I think he only pitched a couple innings in a rehab start. We ended up interviewing him in the municipal pool building across the park because they had so many media to accommodate. Just a crazy night. May, I think, 1991.
Okay, that was a dude who was at the end of his line and he was still getting that. Fast forward to 2023, it's Fernando weekend, number retired, all that stuff. For a guy that you know well that doesn't like the attention.
No, he doesn't.
No.
No, we should set an over-under on the number of words he says during the ceremony tonight because, yeah, Fernando is a tremendous guy. Love the guy. Really dry sense of humor. He'll just drop 3 words on you and bust you up. And I think this means a lot to him, this ceremony and this honor. But he's not a guy who likes being in the spotlight.
The Dodgers have that policy of only Hall of Famers get the number retired. I totally understand it, but he transcends more than just that for this community and the Dodgers, doesn't he?
Oh, no question. No question. He brought an entire section of the fan base to the Dodgers with his performance. Yeah, you look at his career numbers, he doesn't measure up to the Hall of Fame, but they do have people in the Hall of Fame as contributors to the game because of the impact they had. And it's usually, commissioners and umpires and stuff like that. I don't know that anybody in the last 40 years has contributed more to the game than Fernando. So if you want to talk about somehow getting him into the Hall of Fame in that capacity, he meets the standard easily.
You were here when he threw the no-hitter? What was that like?
Yeah, I was here. They tell the story. Those days, the configuration in the clubhouse was different, and the access was considerably different. And as you came up the tunnel to the field, there was the video room. And everybody was gathered in there during BP and so on with watching Dave Stewart throw the no-hitter for Toronto, I think it was, Toronto or Oakland. And the story is that after the last out, Fernando was, kind of peeking his nose in, and he said, "You watched one on TV, now come watch one in person." And sure enough, he goes out there and he does it. And it was not the Fernando of 1981. It was the Fernando in the twilight years, but just a special moment.
You travel all over the country covering the Dodgers. You go to different cities. There's still 34s everywhere you go, right? He's still the rock star?
Oh, absolutely. And if he makes a road trip like to San Diego last week, every member of the media down there wants to talk to him and get him on camera. So, yeah, he's one of those guys in the history of the Dodgers, like Sandy Koufax, that just have that aura about them because of what they accomplished.
At the same time, though, he's a professional, he's a gentleman, but man, he will cut you up with those jokes, won't he?
Oh, yeah. Dry, straight to the point. Yeah, absolutely. Don't turn your back on him. Oh, yeah. I call him mi primo Fernando, and he just shakes his head. No, we're not related. So, yeah, he's got a very dry wit.
You get to sing on Fernando Valenzuela's retirement jersey night. How's that make you feel?
Oh, it's an honor. Es un honor estar aquí en casa, en el estadio de los Dodgers. I feel like I'm at home singing a mi tío Fernando Valenzuela.
There's a lot of people been saying it. Theo, right? The hero. Did you grow up watching him?
Yes, I grew up and I remember when Vince Scully in Paz Descanse said, "If you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky."
Throw your sombrero.
Ahí te va.
No, that was too expensive. Don't throw that one. But for being out here and you sing a Dodger games, you sing the anthem, everything else. But tonight is just more special. Why?
It's historic. It's a historic day. I mean, we're retiring number 34. Estamos celebrando a nuestro paisano de México. So it's very, very special to me, to my family, y a todo México.
Growing up in LA, you didn't see Fernando play, but you know the impact. What's it like being here this weekend for Fernandomania weekend?
It's amazing, man. That guy's a true legend in the community, especially for all the Hispanics here in LA. Those guys, everyone here idolizes him, and for what he did for Los Angeles and for all the Mexican folks, man, it's tremendous.
When you show up and you see him as a broadcaster, you don't really talk to him, you don't see much of him, but you know he has a presence here, right? How many people have that for you?
I mean, he's a Mexican that threw a no-hitter. How many Mexicans can say that? So, yeah, he has a big impact on everyone, especially in Dodger Town, and yeah, man, I hope I get to meet him today.
sangre